Our economy cannot go over the planet's boundaries, but also it cannot shrink to a point where it is leaving people short on life's essentials. That the economy must produce enough food, enough education and income. It must produce enough housing and energy and water. It must produce all of the things that we need for a thriving life. And those things have been agreed to by the world governments in the Sustainable Development Goals. And these are the social ones that we have taken and looked at. So for the planetary ecological issues, it's looking at what the scientists are telling us. For the social foundation, is telling us what we have agreed to as part of the SDGs. And in between these two boundaries, the ecological ceiling on the outside, the social foundation on the inside, is a donut-shaped space that is a safe and just space for humanity. If we can redesign the business, it helps to align the purpose across the company. It isn't just living in the sustainability team. It's living in the procurement team. It's living in the CFO's office. The purpose is living in the marketing team, in the client relations, in all the different teams. It also means that you can enable deeper partnerships. So you have a deeper partnership with your suppliers. When there is a supply chain security issue, you've got that resilient sense of collaboration that is not about just business terms and hard-nosed negotiations, but actually about long-term partnership. Each business has to make its own mind up about how it evolves, how it transitions, and ask itself, what is the business for? And letting go of parts of the business that do not belong in the economy of the future and finding a way to move away from this. Tell senior leaders and find a way to get them to think about a future date. Think about the year 2030, 2040, 2050, and say, what will your business need to be if we are relevant and we are thriving in that future? What will the industry look like? What will the economy look like? What will our clients look like? What will our customers and our consumers and our suppliers and workers, what will this look like for this business? When you can get people to leave the present and think about a future date, more becomes possible because they realize that it is illogical to assume that the current world will stay exactly like it is. So, and then preparing for that future becomes a bit more commercially viable. It's very difficult. A lot of people resist this, but if you can achieve it, if you can get people to think about the year 2050 and think, how does our business belong? What does our business look like? What does our industry look like? It helps. The second one is the personal perspective. And sometimes when we find ways of thinking about future generations, thinking about the grandchildren of the CEO, thinking about the great-grandchildren, and think about your own children and great-grandchildren, and when they ask you, did you know about this? Like, you knew the economy had to change. You worked in a company that needed to change. What did you do? And when we can get to that level of personal challenge, sometimes something different awakens as a human. So making the more human connection. So one is the strategic perspective is long-term, and then working back from the long-term to now. How do we start changing now to become relevant in long-term? Second is at a human level. Like, we are all going to have to answer for what we did, right? We're going to have a story about our lives. We're going to have a story that we will tell our grandchildren one day, if we have grandchildren, to tell neighbors, tell future generations, this is the story of my life. And if you're a CEO, you're in a powerful position. So if you want to be proud of the powerful position, then you will also have responsibility to say how you use that power. Thank you.